Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning. Today is Tuesday, August the 11th, 2026. So right now we swept those 8 a.m. lows pre-market. I have my levels marked out. We have our 8 a.m. lows, our 8 a.m. highs. We have New York midnight open above. Um, let's see here. Just kind of want to mark out where we settled at a new day. Just kind of like to mark out my settlement from yesterday. There we go. All right, we got about 9 minutes left until open, 8 minutes. All right, so we have a little bit of a gap there. So we could see a push down at the open if it's interested in filling that gap, or at least halfway point. So looking at the 4 hour, the trend is bullish on the 4 hour. We did come up, we had a pullback. Now we're going up here. We created a lower high on the 4 hour. We have a pullback here, and we're going up, and we're rejected off of this 1 hour fair value gap. So we could potentially see a sweep of the highs, a tap into this FEG, sweep that key level London high, and then we'd be looking for some type of indication of a short with a lower time frame IFEG inverse maybe the 1 minute, 2 minute, 5 minute, whatever. We do have some lower objectives here going into. We have, of course, settlement from yesterday. So if we open up here, it'd be quite a gap to get to. So if we sweep those highs, that would complete our strategy where we would sweep those lows, go into these higher time frame PD arrays, or these key levels, which is we have London lows, we have Asia lows, we have prior day lows down here, all before we get down to this daily fair value gap, which and this OB down here. So we could see a sweep of the highs and a nice pullback, creating another lower high on the 4 hour, excuse me, before going up. Maybe sweep these Asia lows, which would be a major liquidity pool here. As we see, let's get rid of some of this so we can see what's going on here. You have this gap here. You have this area here of liquidity. There, boom, where people went long. And then your next, of course, down here, minor sell side liquidity down there. So this is also sell side liquidity, interior sell side liquidity with these Asia lows. So it wouldn't be unlikely to see maybe a sweep of the highs. Then we go low. Right now it's looking like we may sweep these lows and then potentially go higher and before another pullback. I have a consummate encroachment of a higher time frame wick here. So if we start to close above this wick, it's an indication for me that we would see higher prices going on into the session. But we're creating a nice upper wick here on this 4 hour. We got about 30 minutes left on this 4 hour. On the 1 hour, we have a doji on this pre-session 1 hour here. So that shows some indecision. The upper wick is a little bit longer. So it's looking like we may see a push down first. Although we've already swept those 8 a.m. lows, we didn't really hit any key levels, or we didn't tap into any higher time frame PD arrays as of yet. Excuse me 1 second. Hello. What's up? Now You guys go ahead and handle your business, man. You guys are making decisions as adults. You feeding her that stuff, and then y'all call us when the things get out of hand, and then expects us to jump into it. If it gets to a point where you need to call somebody professionally that can handle it, that's equipped, then call them. If she ready to make a decision, then I'll help her get there. Other than that, then I'm not going to be doing this back and forth and all that with y'all, because y'all making decisions as adults on a day-to-day basis. So when y'all I'm not saying you're the issue, but listen, listen to what I'm telling you. Okay, she grown. Listen to what I'm telling you. On a day-to-day basis, y'all making grown people decisions. You and her, you supplying her with whatever she needs, and then you catering to her every wish and demand. So that's making decisions on an adult level. That's making decisions on an adult level. So when the consequences come behind the decisions y'all make, deal with the consequences. If she's ready to do what she knows she needs to do, I'll be there to assist. Other than that, I'm not getting dragged into y'all life. All right. So we did get a sweep into those 8 a.m. lows, but we did not get a tap into a higher time frame PD array or a key level, which is causing price to kind of diddy daddle around here. So at the open, hopefully we'll see some type of volume where traders will come in and push price to where we would like to see it go. Maybe push it to those lows, tap into these higher time frame PD arrays, maybe even close this gap, or push up and hit these highs and hit those key levels or those higher time frame PD arrays that we're looking for. So we'll be patient here and see what the market brings us. All right, so we're down here on the 15. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put us down here on the 1 minute. So it's starting to inverse this 1 minute here after sweeping those 8 a.m. lows. However, we haven't hit the open yet. And for me, it didn't really hit any key levels or higher time frame PD arrays, even though it did close above and inverse. We may see that sweep into the highs. We do have equal highs up here as a draw, but I'd much rather wait until the open to see what type of volume that we get. So let's see. We got about 30 seconds here until the open. Oh, so we got a nice push down into those lows at the open into the higher time frame PD array. So right now what we're looking for is, I'm gonna put our tool here. So it's pushing down, maybe closing into that gap. We got it open here. Let's see. So I wouldn't be surprised if we take out close that gap or even tap down into these lower time frames. But what we're going to do is look for an indication of some type of bullish sentiment. I'll keep my tool over here on the side for right now. So what I'm going to do here is, so we have a 1 minute FEG here. Boom. We have a 1 minute FEG there. Not quite official yet because we still got 30 seconds left on this candle. If it inches up, we'll shorten up this gap. But that's a pretty big expansion candle to the downside. We closed the gap. Right at the gap, we see the reversal at the gap. So price was interested in closing that gap at the open. That was very important for the market to do so today. We're starting to see a nice lower wick. So what we're going to do now is maybe look for some type of reversal or IFEG into this 1 minute. What we'll do is we're going to be patient. So let's go to the 1 hour. Even though it tapped, this is a 1 hour and this is a 15 minute. So this 1 hour candle, we have about 27 minutes left into this 1 hour candle. So we very well could see a nice bottom. Like we're entering an area here of support, as we can see this on these 1 hour candles. 1, 2, 3, 4. So for the last 4 hours, price has been holding up here around, and this would create these London lows. I wouldn't be surprised if we came down and wicked these lows, tapped into our daily fair value gap, got this liquidity pool here right below these wicks, tapped into that liquidity pool, which would be our daily fair value gap, and then reversal up. If we started to see a reversal, if it came down this far, I wouldn't wait as high as this 1 minute fair value gap for an inverse. We would see if there are any more gaps created lower, and then look for that inverse on those lower position FEGs. But as of now, this is our main FEG here on the 1 minute, looking for an inverse there before getting into any longs. Looking at ES over here just to see what we're looking at. Now ES is looking very bullish. I mean very bearish on these, maybe setting for these equal lows down here. But we'll see. But as of now, I'm gonna go with our long narrative. I like the longs for higher probability, just because we're sitting here at this daily fair value gap. Looking at the daily chart, it's a small fair value gap, but nevertheless it's there. It's still respecting that gap because we look at the wicks. The wicks will do the damage, but the bodies tell the story. So right now, we're looking kind of indecisive on the day. My opinion, will create a nice bottom wick here, start to fill up this top wick area, and then we're getting into area of resistance here from 1, 2, 3, 4. Those were 4 days. In the middle, we had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So back here and around July, on Monday, July 6th, this was a nice resistance area here, and it shot price down for a while. So as we get back up into this area, it would make sense for the sellers up here to defend this position. So let's see, but that just creates a higher probability and a better narrative for us to long into that position, as we're already down here into this support area where we got the daily fair value gap that's been tapped into. And we could see it go as below Asia lows, down into this area of liquidity here below this wick. I don't think price will go that deep, but it's not unheard of. If it does, we'll adjust. But as of now, we're just looking for these longs to play out as we approach Asia, as we approach these Asia lows. I put my so based off the open, we are very bearish on those open candles. Scalp trade, this would have been a very good for the scalp. See, as we started off flat here, the 200 moving average is flat. We have a VWAP, which is tentatively flat and starting to angle down. So now what we'll do is we'll look to see what type of pullback we're getting here. If we start to pull back and break above these EMAs, these simple moving averages, that would be right in alignment with our 8 a.m. lows and going into our 8 a.m. highs. So let's look at our 1 minute. Okay, we do have a 1 minute FEG here. So let's see if we can't get some type of inversion on that 1 minute. This would actually be our first presented fair value gap here. So an inversion here would be saying a lot. We do have this 1 minute here. So I would take a jab if we inverse this 1 minute. We'd enter in at maybe half risk. We're still respecting this daily fair value gap with these wicks not bodying below it. We could see a wick down and tap these lows and continuation up. But as of now, this is what we're looking for. So let's see. Getting a nice bottom wick here on this 1 minute. I was looking very, very bearish on with these candles here. So let's see what we do once we sweep these lows. If we start to sweep into these lows, Asia lows, get into this one. This is the 1 hour here. We have a 1 hour inefficiency here. I have a 1 hour inefficiency here. That's been holding price pretty well. We got a wick below there, but no real disrespect of that bullish FEG. Let's see, we're starting to see some respect here, aligning with these wicks here and these wicks here. This is a major area of support for price. So let's see if buyers step in and push us up. So we got about 30 seconds left before the end of this 1 minute candle here. So I'd like to see a body close above that and maybe even a break of these highs, and then we'll jab it in. I will poke if we get a body closure above that FEG. So let's see. So we did close above there. Getting a retest.
Order filled.
So I'll put a limit order there. See if it'll tap us in. On my TradeAvate account, I'm already in here on the TradeAvate account. We're in this trade here. I got in at 3 micros. So I'll try to add to that position if we look like it's going to continue up. So it looks like we're getting some nice buying pressure into there. 871. So we got our TP set at these 8 a.m. highs here, which is our objective. I mean, as though we swept those 8 a.m. lows, tapped into our higher time frame PD array being the daily fair value gap, and we've closed the gap and we've hit our key levels here. So we inversed the 1 minute here, inverse this 1 minute fair value gap here, and that led into our entry for these longs. This could be a lower high, being as though if that is, we will cut the trade. I'm in at about 3 micros on my TradeAvate account. So that's about 2/4 of what I would normally put in. We normally go in at around 5. So let's just see what we're doing. Let's see if these nice bottom wicks that are being created on the 1 minute here, this is a higher low, and then a break of these highs. We get a nice break of this high here. This will be good. So let's see if we can hold up here. Looks like price may want to deliver a little bit lower before going up if we do go up, but we may get stopped out here. Yeah. So we got stopped out there, and it's pretty bearish here. So we'll just see what price does. I'm not convinced that we should be looking for shorts here. We are pretty well below those 8 a.m. lows. So I'm looking into maybe tapping into this hourly FEG here. There's a pretty big wick. So I kind of want to mark out, I'm going to mark out that wick there with the gradient levels. If we hit below 50% of this big wick here that's been holding price for some time now, then we're starting to look at maybe price wanting to head lower for this AM session. So let's see what we got here. So this is that 1 minute fair value gap, that first presented 1 minute fair value gap. But by the time we get up here, we know that we're pretty much headed up for the rest of the day. The thing we're trying to do here is catch a nice entry at a good time. So we're just heading into this 950 macro. So I'm looking into possibly, even though price may hit our objectives, being sweeping a low or a high and tapping into a key level. If we haven't hit that macro yet, I may consider still holding off onto my entry, because you can see we entered a little bit early here, even though we may be on the right side of the trade on the longs. Being as though we haven't entered into that macro time frame, it allowed for price to still continue to deliver lower, instead of going to its manipulate lower instead of delivering to its destination, which would be, these highs. So let's see what the macro gives us, and see if we can't get some sort of bullish inversion and deliver to the highs. or let's see if we are going to continue lower for the rest of this AM session. But this time is just as important as position. So when you put together the time and space, that gives us exactly what we're looking for. So I think we were just missing the time portion of our execution. I do believe we're on the right side of the trade, looking for longs on an overall perspective. But as far as timing, I just believe we were off on the timing. But we'll take one more jab at either longs or shorts, depending on what the market gives us, and we'll see if we can get better timing on this entry here. Let's see what ES is doing over here. This is the so we got a change in state of delivery here on the 1 minute. Let's see on the 5 minute. Should we wait for that IFEG on the 5 minute to confirm longs? That would be the safest. But let's see, that would be this gap here between the low of this wick and the high of this wick. There's a 5 minute gap in there. About 6 minutes left on this 1 hour. We would inverse a 1 hour FEG. If we inverse this 1 hour, I wouldn't be too sure that we'd be looking for longs on this AM session. So on the 1 hour, we have a higher high and we have a lower low. So if we break above, again, we'd definitely be looking for higher prices. But again, that is it during this session. That's yet to be determined. So let's see. I want to mark out this daily OB here. So I do want to see if we inverse this 1 minute here. I still want to see a break of these highs here before ending, just because we did take that first loss on entering a little bit too early. We're about 6 minutes into that 950 macro. So ES, if ES sweeps these lows, that would give us good confirmation of higher prices. NQ has already swept that area. We got a nice bottom wick forming on this 15 minute. So we have on this 1 minute here, we have our 1 minute here that was inversed. See if we inverse this one here. All right, so let's see if we can't get a close above here.
Order filled.
I'm trying to get into this trade. We're looking at some buys here. I apologize for the little pause. I was trying to get it together on my TradeAvate account, as well as this trading view, so that you could see where we are. But we're starting to get some speed to the upside, which is good. So we're starting to look at that 10-10 macro starting to hit us in. So it looks like the manipulation phase is officially over, and now we're in the distribution phase. We've got a change in structure here on the 1 minute where we did break these highs here that I wanted to see. We got kind of a high entry here on NQ simply because I was going back and forth on my Trade of 8 and my Trading View account. I'll bring up my Trade of 8 account. We are in this trade here, currently up about 250 bucks there. So we got a little bit of a better entry on our Trade of 8 account at the 730s. Our entry here is at about this. Our entry here is, where are we at there? About 747. So about a 17-point difference. So let's see if we can continue this delivery to the upside. Yeah, we do have a 1 minute inefficiency here. If we look at the some of the companies that make up the Nasdaq, Nvidia is one that should be giving us a nice push to the upside. We're starting to see a little bit of a consolidation, which is good. Just after we broke those highs, I'd rather see a consolidation than a deep pullback because we've pretty much pulled back. We've pretty much hit all of our lower targets as far as liquidity, tapping into higher time frame PD arrays. Let's look at our 1 hour. We did body below this 1 hour inefficiency, which is not good for me as when it comes to my inversion model. But we could at least see a pullback into that 1 hour inefficiency. But that again is a 1 hour time frame. So we do got nice bottom wicks here, so we could see price at least go back up to the midnight open before going back down if it wants to go back down to see lower prices. So on the 5 minute here, I'd like to see it break above VWAP and stay above VWAP. So I wanted to see it close above VWAP. We didn't, but we are continuing to push higher. Looking at the 1 minute, I may take a trim when we talk about our Trade of 8 account. Once we get into that 1 hour inefficiency, I may start to take a trim, then pull our stop loss up to at least break even, to protect, to lock in some prices, lock in some profits. So we are pushing up. So we are pushing up. We're approaching that area there, that 787 area where I'll take 2 off. I'm in 5. contracts with my TradeAvate account, and that'll be right around where we're starting to get into that 1 hour inefficiency and a pullback.
Order filled.
So we're starting to see a little pullback there. We didn't quite break those highs that I wanted to see there. They're starting to pull back into that 8 simple moving average. We got about 3 minutes left into that 10-10 macro. So we're getting into that inefficiency area here. So full disclosure, I closed out my TradeAvate trade. Um, so after that first loss, we're up about 114 on the day. I don't like, again, with my inversion model, I don't like the fact that we inversed this 1 hour, with a full body close below. But being as though that is a 1 hour candle, doesn't mean that we won't seek higher prices and tap into that New York Open there. That's what we're looking for. But I will look for a possible re-entry for shorts, and I'll be scalping from here, scalping into that higher time frame, or that higher objective. We have our 200 here, so we may pull back or we may continue higher. So let's see. As we approach the end of that 10-10 macro, but as we get to the end of that 10-10 macro, we should be shooting for midnight open if that's the objective. So that's why, as you can see, as soon as we get into this inefficient, we start to see a rejection. I'll hold on to this trading view accounts just for visual purposes. So we are at the end of that 10-10. Are we going to deliver to the upside? Let's see. So far, it looks like it wants to push, but we are getting a little resistance there at that 1 hour inefficiency, which was to be expected. Um, for me, I exited trade because I'd rather get into a trade that's a lot easier to reach our objective. We got pretty good size on that trade. We got pretty good movement on that trade. I am holding it on our trading view, but we got such a bad entry on the trading view that to pull it up to break even would just be a lot. So, but I will. Let's pull it up here. Because technically, this should be protected there, but let's pull it below VWAP. Like I said, on my TradeAvid account, I did exit the trade. We are in a bit of a consolidation there. So let's see if we can get some expansion to the upside and get full delivery to, I'm looking to at least midnight open. And eventually those 8 a.m. highs. But according to my strategy, I'm so in love with my strategy that once he sweeps those 8 a.m. lows, I'm just knowing that it'll hit those highs. But it's it's the time. At what point, at what time will it hit it? That's the thing. So that's the thing I have to always keep in the forefront of my mind. So we will eventually hit those 8 a.m. highs. Will it be this session? Possibly. Right now we're just experiencing a little bit of resistance at that 1 hour inefficiency consolidation. So when we see this consolidation, what we may see as price consolidates, just a sweep here of these lows here, or maybe even a retest of this 1 minute inefficiency, and then from here, go higher to our objective. So let's see what it decides to do. See. I'm so anal about these glasses. Every time I get a little spot, I just gotta wipe it off. In my opinion, why have these glasses if I can't see crystal clear? Might as well use my dysfunctional eyeballs if I gotta look through a spotty lens. So I'm always wiping my glasses. Yeah, so we're starting to see that pullback there. The price starting to retest those areas. It may wick us out here as they pulled our stop loss up. So we at least lock in some profits on the TradingView account. We got profits on there. Honestly, it's reflecting our TradeAvid account, because after our first trade, we took that small loss. We had a profit of about 117 on our TradeAvid account. So if it does trail us out here, we'd be up about 170 on our TradingView account with this bad entry. So it looks like that's what it did. TradingView kind of is delayed with its exiting trades and closing trades, but this trade's pretty much closed. So that's what I'm looking at. We're looking at maybe a retest of this 1 minute inefficiency, and then a move up. I'm looking at this 4 hour here. Let's get rid of this here. So we have a nice bottom wick on this 4 hour, which is higher than the previous 4 hour candle. It looks like price wants to move higher after that pullback. So we have this bullish trend going up, It's a nice pullback. Then a push to the upside. So will this 4-hour candle continue to deliver to the upside? Having already formed a lower wick, it looks like it may continue to the upside on as far as the 4 hour is concerned. So on the 1 hour, looks like we could push back, could push up into that New York Open like we planned. Even if it doesn't close above, it still would be respecting this inversion, as this was already inversed. Let's change the color there. That's been inversed. That 1 hour's been inversed. When it closed, when this black candle closed below this 1 hour FEG, that was an inversion. So we could see this candle wick above here, hit midnight open, even 8 a.m. highs, and then come back down. As long as it doesn't close above, we still respected this inversion. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get rid of that there, and I'm going to mark out a more substantial area, which is this 15-minute gap. So we got this 15-minute FEG here. If we close above here, we're definitely going to see higher prices going up. But on a lower basis, we did inverse. Well, we respected this 5-minute here, which is layered on top of this daily fair value gap. So we could see what is now prices coming in, starting to retest that area, retest that 5-minute. Let's darken that up a little bit so we can see it. That's our 5-minute there. So I'm gonna play it patient. We're 1-on-1. We're 1-1 for the day. 1 loss, 1 win for the day. We're green, about 114 on our P&L. So we're gonna wait for price to decide when it wants to go higher and commit, and we're gonna look for a nice entry for a possible long if we can get it in at this AM session. Deliver to these highs. Midnight open is my first low-hanging fruit there, and then on up to those 8 a.m. highs. So we have that 5-minute gap that price is respecting. We closed above it, came down and rejected of it, came here, closed above VWAP, but we're starting to see some resistance here. And this, of course, is our first presented fair value gap. I'm going to get this out the way here. So if we close above this 5 minute, we'd be getting above constant encroachment of our first presented fair value gap on the 1 minute, which is all good confirmation for higher prices. We see a lot of indecision on these 15 minute. We have a nice lower wick here on this 15 minute, but we have these two upper wicks on this prior 15 minute candle and the current 15 minute candle. So that could be some engineered liquidity with these equal highs here. Either way, I like to see a break above this area and into some higher prices. So I'd like to see a break above that area there. Not really seeing too much movement to the upside as of now. So again, timing's always a factor. So we got about 25 minutes before we hit that 1050 macro, where we'll see where if price wants to deliver, will it deliver to those highs, or will we continue to just move around here in the middle? Ooh, that wasn't good. Kind of tight here. So just to recap, we are net positive on the day. Uh, we took an early jab at that not too far after the open, after we swept those 8 a.m. lows. And so this is our 9:30, and we swept into those lows. We actually swept 8 a.m. lows prior to the open at 9:15, but we failed to tap into any significant key levels, sweep any significant key levels, or tap into any higher time frame PD arrays. So that told me that may see another sweep of those lows. We seen another sweep at 9:26, the first one at 9:15. Then at the open, it came down with a nice strong move to the downside and expansion, creating this first presented fair value gap. So sweeping those 8 a.m. lows, then tapping into those higher time frame PD arrays. There was a 1 hour and a 15-minute PD array below here. So we got into there. This is that 9:30 candle. We had our daily fair value gap as well. Tapped into that daily fair value gap, wicked all the way below, almost tapping into this lower 1 hour fair value gap. After tapping into those higher time frame PD arrays, sweeping London low, we decided to take a trade, and I'll just pull it up here. We decided to take a trade here once we inversed this 1 minute FEG. So we inversed this 1 minute FEG here. I got a little bit of a better entry on my TradeAvate account, and we also inversed here. So we took that. Well, we took this. Let's see. Boom. Okay. So this is my first entry. So that was the second. We took 2 trades here. So my first, we got here. We got kind of a bad entry there. We got, where we at? Boom, 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 boom. This was 9:30. We came down, down here, and we inversed here. There was a 1 minute inefficiency here to the downside. Came up, we inversed here. We got in here. Price then, after we got in here, it decided to come down and it stopped us out here. So that was our first loss. So we got in at 734 and it stopped us out at 748. So after that, we waited for price to resettle. It came and swept a little bit lower. Didn't quite cross 50% of this. It's just a higher time frame wick that's been holding price down. Didn't cross over that 50% mark, which was good indication that we would see higher prices. We're looking at this 1 minute here, this 1 minute FEG here. It inversed here. There was another 1 minute FEG here that inversed. So then on the trading view account, this account, we got in here. It was a kind of a higher position than I wanted to. We got in at the 747 area. On my TraderVate account, we got in about 17 points lower, which was good. So price then came up here, started to bang around, and we just trailed our stop up, and we got a profit of about 170 there on that trade. So we are 1 for 2 on the day, and we're currently looking for our next trade, our next long. See if we can see if price will deliver to those highs after sweeping the lows. So this is our 8 a.m. low. We're still well below it. I'm looking for us to at least get to this New York Open, which is a nice draw on liquidity, and then possibly those 8 a.m. highs and the London high before we get into this area of resistance here. So currently what we're doing, we set out some higher time frame FEGs. We're looking at this 5 minute here. Looking at this 5 minute and see if we can get above constant encroachment and inverse this 5 minute. Of course, we have our first presented fair value gap there, but if we inverse this 5 minute, we don't necessarily have to wait to inverse this first presented FEG. An inversion of this 5 minute would be good enough to take another stab at a long into those into that New York Open and possibly higher. So let's see. So I'd like to see a break of these highs here. We have a small 1 minute inefficiency here. That was inverted. So let's see if we can't get those relative equal highs there. Right there at VWAP, rejecting off of VWAP, which is always a good sign. Got a nice bottom wick there. But this is a major area of rejection here. So no matter how bad, I probably want to try to scalp from here to there, which in the past, that is a play I would do. Nice 20 points. I really want to see price break above this area before putting on any risk. We are seeing buyers step in. So we are seeing a lot of chop here right now. I definitely want to see a break and a close above these highs before shooting for those longs. We are respecting this 1 minute FEG here with these wicks. This last wick was just above consummate encroachment, this middle area of that FEG. Every time we get that little push higher, it's a lot of resistance there. Yeah. So if we would have tried to scalp into there, we'd be experiencing some drawdown way below this little 1 hour and this 1 minute inefficiency, which it just closed below, which is a position I found myself in many, many times over. So we're learning, we're growing. We are learning, we are growing, and we are getting better because we are adhering to our strategy and following our own rules. In the past, this is what I would have expected price going for these highs. I would have put on heavy as opposed to 5 micros. I'd have put on 10 and try to scalp to those highs for 20 points, believing that we're gonna go up there and get that. And this is where I would have found myself here in drawdown, possibly with a loss way bigger than all my wins of the day. So that's not a position I want to be in. That's not a position I want to find myself in again and again. The objective is to learn from our past and turn those wounds into wisdom, ultimately. So as we approach that 1050 macro, this could be there consolidation and accumulation, a little bit of manipulation to the downside, possibly maybe even sweeping this liquidity here, then going before we see higher prices. So let's see. On the 5 minute, it just looks like a lot of accumulation here. So this is kind of the range we're in now here. So let's see if we get a sweep here and then go a little bit higher. But either way, you want to see some type of sweep of liquidity before getting into any type of trade. Right now we haven't swept any liquidity. We're just kind of bouncing back and forth, up and down. So we're getting a lot of chop, which if you know NQ, that's typical. Yeah, this is not clean price action right here. So it may get a lot cleaner if we sweep these lows first before going higher. And look at that upper wick there on that 5 minute, bouncing off VWAP and our SMAs, simple moving averages. So what I'm looking for now, if we do get into any longs, is a sweep of these lows, this area of liquidity here, where there's some resting orders below this long wick, where people have possibly went long early, or we have some limit orders here, people trying to get long. Either way, maybe that liquidity will trigger some movement to the upside. But we'll just give it a few more minutes here, and we'll see what this 1050 macro is looking like. If we get a sweep of these lows and it's starting to look like we're getting some push to this upside, then we'll start to aggressively look for some longs to this midnight open. I just realized our music got cut. There we go. Just a little bit. Even though the stream's almost over, you know. So we did sweep those lows with an immediate rejection to the upside. Right around closing to our 1050 macro. So let's invert. Let's invert. Let's invert this 1 minute here. Let's invert this 1 minute. Let's see if we can get into something worthwhile here. Got about 30 seconds left before the end of that candle. About 10 seconds left. Let's see if we can invert that 1 minute there. And we'd be looking for some longs. We did not invert that 1 minute. but it still continues to push to the upside. Ten seconds left.
Order filled. Order filled.
Yeah, I want to get into this trade here, but price is just doing a little bit too much tiptoeing for me, especially on my um, on my TraderVate account. But it does look like we may deliver to the upside here. Let's see if we can get above. Let's see if we can get above this area here. If we can get above this area here with a break and a close, I may be interested to jumping into that trade. Just about to, got about a few seconds left for that 1050 macro. So now we're entering into that 1050 macro. We may see a little bit of a pullback here. So typically what we may do, we may see we're at that 1050 macro. We may see price manipulate to the downside, maybe even to this, let's see, to the top of this OB here. To have this OB here, and then what we'll see is price push to that upside. Let's see, we got about 20 seconds left. Let's see if we break above here with a nice close. See if we can get some expansion to the highs here.
Order filled.
Yeah, so it's our rallying up, and I think we will hit our TP here at midnight open. It's typically good, so we're learning, we're growing. We're getting some delivery here at this 1050 macro. We didn't get it at the 950. It looks like we're getting it at the 1050. New York Open is a major draw on liquidity. We broke above these highs and a close. We're coming back to a retest. So let's put a visual on it. Let's put a visual. Let's make it make sense. Let's make it make sense. Tap this in. We'll put our lows here. We actually would want to get our entry here, but as a visual, we put it on here in our trading view account. Let's see if we can't deliver. Let's see if we get here. We still be looking good. We're going to shoot for our midnight open there, possibly to these 8 a.m. highs. We have our 200 simple moving average here, which is providing some resistance. Once we get above here, this is kind of our last wall of resistance. Let's see where we are in our 5 minute. We still haven't totally inversed this 5 minute. This is our 5 minute FVG here. Looking for an inversion here for even higher prices. We are above consummate encroachment of that 5 minute FVG. So on the 1 minute, look like we're breaking above that 200 simple moving average. Got about 20 seconds left before we get a close above there. A strong close above that 200 would be a nice bullish indication that we're going to see some higher prices. But as you can see, that 200 tends to act as a resistance area. We got about 3 seconds left. Getting a little bit of a accumulation here. Yeah, these highs on this 4 hour would be the draw on liquidity. That's what we're looking at overall. We had a nice manipulation wick here on this prior candle on this 4 hour. We already have a lower wick on this current 4 hour candle, which we're just barely 1 hour into this new candle. On our 1 hour, we have the same story. We have a nice lower wick here on this 1 hour, a nice sweep of liquidity here, and now we have a suitable, I'd say a suitable lower wick here on this 1 hour and continuing higher. So I don't see why we wouldn't be able to see price hit our New York Open and even these 8 a.m. highs after a sweep of our 8 a.m. lows, which would, for me, be a happy day because it completed our narrative. Even though this wasn't a big area and we did manipulate well below those 8 a.m. lows, we got that sweep of the lows into those higher time frame PD arrays and key levels. So it would only be right before the PM session that we hit those 8 a.m. highs. That would be in a perfect scenario. But getting to midnight open is our first objective, and would be a and we'd clap it up for the day, just hitting that target there. So let's see where we can go. Let's see where we can get to. Yeah, sometimes trading can get a little monotonous, but that's what it is. Waiting, hurry up and wait. That's the motto. You're hurrying. You're getting into position. You're marking out your levels. You're waiting and you're waiting, and sometimes you get in these trades and you're waiting. So patience is definitely a virtue when it comes to trading. But as of today, this is my TradingView account. So on our active 50K eval, we did take a few trades. I actually took a few scalps into our midnight open, although we didn't reach our midnight open. I amped up my risk from 3 to 10, which I usually take 5. Our earlier trades I took 3. Our P&L right now, we're up 269 on the day. So I'm happy with today. I'm not going to sit here through this chop. I'm not going to sit here and wait for price to deliver to this midnight open. It may not deliver until lunch. We're approaching our new hourly candle. So it's creating an upper wick. So if at this new hourly open candle we don't instantly rip up higher, we're just going to go ahead and close it out for the day. Again, my TradingView is basically for visuals, for testing, learning. We are net positive on the day. We stayed within our strategy. We followed our rules, and we got good consequences because of it. We're up 269 on the day. Yesterday was a winning day, and the day before as well. So it's not about who's the best trader, who has the best strategy, because all strategies work. It just depends on at what time are you executing those strategies, and do you have the patience and the discipline to follow the rules within that strategy, within that narrative. And you have a strategy, but then you have to have a plan. There's a strategy, and then there's a plan of execution for the strategy. My strategy is a sweep of these 8 a.m. highs or 8 a.m. lows at the open, and a tap or a sweep of a key level, such as a London high, a London low, a new day opening gap close, or a higher time frame PD array, which is a 1 hour fair value gap, a daily fair value gap. So a sweep of a high or a low, a tap into a key level or high time frame PD array. Then we go to a lower time frame, like a 1 minute, and we look for an IFVG, an inversion of a fair value gap. And that's exactly what we did here today. This is our first presented fair value gap at the 9:30 open, which price has stayed below. And no doubt once we invert this 1 minute first presented, we'll see higher prices. For right now, we looked at some 1 minute fair value gaps that were created as price moved down after a sweep of these lows. We inverted these fair value gaps and we took positions. At one point, we took too early of a position. We see price inverted this 1 minute here. We got in here a little bit too early. Price, even though it inverted this 1 minute, it wasn't a real significant 1 minute, because on the way down this gap was created. It did not sweep any significant key levels, although it did tap into a higher time frame PD array. It respected this PD array with these wicks. However, this inversion, we got in here and it just delivered lower, which stopped us out. Then we seen another 1 minute SIBI sell side inefficiency, and it inverted here, which we then got into a long and seen some upside, then some consolidation. We brung our stop loss up and price trailed us out somewhere along here. And now what we did is we waited for price to, after this consolidation at the macro, at the 1050 macro, to start to deliver higher. And we got into this trade here on this trading view account just for visual effects. And I believe we're on the right side of this trade, and we will ultimately hit our New York Open. We're just seeing a lot of delay with this consolidation and price. It may stop us out, but we keep our stop loss tight here. And this is our trading view account. I did not take this trade on my my 50K account, although I did scalp some small trades with an idea of price hitting our target of the New York Open. And I scalped a few I was going into this New York Open here. We got it. I scalped one here. We got into here. But ultimately, on our P&L, we're up 269 on the day, just simply by following our rules, following our strategy, and having a plan. So, all in all, it's a good day. We learned, we grew, and we were ultimately successful. So, I'm gonna go ahead and close out the stream. It's 11 right now. Price may stop us out. It may go higher within this AM session. But be as it may, you can look at where we are now and reference on your own charts. But thanks for joining me today. I appreciate it. Hit the like and subscribe, whether you're here with me in real time or visiting me from a future time and place. I appreciate it all the same. Just documenting this journey, growing and learning and getting better with each trade. So thanks again. Happy trading. And I will see you guys on the next one. So happy trading and see you tomorrow.